Peace, love, and cheers all. I must say right off the bat, April 2nd felt more like April Fool's than April 1st. 111 and 222. I love you. The story I have to tell, I'm about to tell, regards those two number synchronicities and seeing them at just the right time to create a rather eventful day yesterday. Before I upload this video, you will see a video uploaded where I'm talking about the clouds of Chico and the storm that was coming in. Yesterday we had, first it was a tornado warning, and then we ended up having flash flood warning. And flash flood was it ever. I had to walk through it. Now, what I'm doing is, you know, adult stuff, running around, making errands. I had to pick up a Western Union. When I picked up this Western Union, I gave the employee, very nice lady, my MTC number. You have a number, tracking number, you have to give them to pick it up. And when she wrote the number down, at one point in the number there was 11. There was 11 in the tracking number, and after she wrote the whole number out, she literally just took a moment to go next to the 11 and put a 1 there. So right there, instantly I see 111 because of this lady putting the 1 there. Then she pauses and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think that 1 goes there. I don't know why I did that." And I'm laughing to myself because when I see 111, or so I've looked up from the Webby Web, and it does fit with my intuition. When I see 111, it says follow your intuition, follow your heart. 111 is basically telling you that your intuition is strong, follow it. And so I did. 2 hours later, the storm is picking up. It's raining on and off all day. I have to walk from the college to clear the other side of town, essentially. What's need to be known in that. Now, while I'm walking, I'm passing, as every town has, an AM/PM. I'm passing this AM/PM gas station right before the freeway, and sure enough, what do I see other than 222 on the license plate of a car pulling up in one of the gas tanks? And 222, I giggled at because I was like, it means right place, right timing. My mind didn't want to be there, man. My mind didn't want to be there. I was really upset at my friend who I was crashing at the time. Love you, Gina, if you ever find yourself watching this. At the time, I was a little annoyed. I was going to tell her. I didn't, and nor am I going to. I'm just happy to be alive, honestly. I tell her, like, don't offer me a ride, and then when I take you up on it, ignore me. Because that's what happened. And she didn't pick me up, so at one point I was really upset. I'm up in the rain. Excuse me. Starting to hail. Starting to, like, really get fierce. And there was this moment where I was just like, "Rah! Bring it on, rain. Bring it on, hail." And I swear, when I shouted that, "Bring it on. You already got me soaked. What else you got?" Literally, it got more intense. I was doing this, and at this point, so much freaking hail, so much freaking water passes through. More than I have ever seen in this area, and this is pretty much my hometown. I'm 25, I've lived here for 22 years. I'm walking down the road, and little did I know, at a certain point, once I'm getting this freaking soaked, I'm so soaked that literally all the stuff in my pockets got soaked. And I have very important paperwork that I was supposed to turn in, and I still have it, but it's pretty freaking soaked now, I'll tell you what. Anyways, The point of this story, which is where I'm coming to with it in this next part, is compassion. Compassion and empathy. Because I want to be so happy and cheery and dry telling you this story if it wasn't for those two things. Compassion and empathy. So, I'm walking down and walking down the road, and there's flooding. There is flooding to the road. The flooding is so bad that the water at certain points ended up washing up to my knees. So not only am I soaked as soaked as you can be, I'm walking, I'm trudging it through the streets towards the downtown area, freaking soaking water up to my knees. And what normally is just the sidewalk. It gets so bad that at a certain point I break getting to my destination. There's this motel in Chico, and you know, they're part of the story, and I'll forever suggest them to people now. They're called the Heritage Inn, owned by this I want to say Middle Eastern group of guys. The compassion they showed, thank you guys, thank you so much. Here I am, I'm rushing over across the street to this hotel, and the first thing that happens, actually, is I try to roll a cigarette, because I'm like, man, this is crazy. I do smoke tobacco, I want a cigarette right now. But of course everything's soaked, and when everything's soaked, rollies don't work. So I meander on over to this gentleman over on the other side of the motel, because I notice he's smoking a cigar or something. And his homie in the motel, fortunately, had their room had an extra cigarette. Now here's the kicker: their motel room number 111. I kid you not. And this room number 111, not only did they supply me with the cigarette, but I wouldn't be wearing the orange hoodie I'm wearing right now if it wasn't for them. And I wouldn't be wearing these shoes actually right now if it wasn't for them, because literally everything was soaked. After these guys showed their compassion, you know, helping me out with that, the motel owners come up and they open up the laundry room and they dry my clothes for me, man. It was the most, like, it was beautiful. I felt so appreciative. I was like, God damn, thank you. Especially in the middle of this, knowing that I just, like, got help by a attendant that happens to live in a room number called 111. And that's the thing, man. If you're watching this video and you're like, what do these numbers have to do with the story? In many ways, they have everything to do with the story, you know? You can't just describe and intellectualize why, you know, number synchronicities are important or how you apply them. No, you just, there's a certain amount of conscious awareness and depth that just naturally comes with recognizing or just experiencing these numbers playing an effect. Using these numbers as cues or intuitive premonitions to see what happens next. Because that's just it, man. Before I ended up getting flooded out practically, before I ended up having to go to the hotel, experience the compassion I did from others helping me out, because it was bad, man. I was shivering. I had to get a dirty towel just to dry my feet off, freaking everything. But sorry, lost train of thought. Before all that happened, I saw 222. 222, right place, right time. The one tenant helped me. He had the motel room 111. Intuition. I followed my intuition, and I got assistance. And the 222 highlights even afterwards. The story's not done there. See, I was feeling so happy that I just knew that I had to pass it on. You know, when someone shows you empathy and compassion like that, especially strangers that don't know you at all, pass that shit on. And that's exactly what I did. I knew I was at the right place in the right time because at this point, clothes are dry. It's not raining at all anymore. And I laughed because I noticed, like, well, if I was on the left side of the road, I never would have experienced all this flooding in the first place. But of course, that's my mind, because my heart knew I was at the right place at the right time. And I was. Because later I ran into this lady who, remarkably enough, just met this man, even though I could have sworn they were a couple for like 10 years. But anyways, this lady lost her house in paradise in the campfire. And my heart goes out to her. She went through that. She's been beaten. She's been raped. And this lady was walking around with, you know, a pair of shorts, a shirt, and a blanket, and no shoes. And she was telling me how she fell during the flood and all that. And she asked for a cigarette. At this point, things were dry. I was able to roll her a cigarette. Roll her a few. Ended up hanging out with them for a minute. To give them the love and compassion and empathy that was just given to me. And it's nice. There was also this gentleman by the name, well, disclaimer on names. Needless to say, he had the same, my first name was his last name. And the man, George, oh no, I said his first name. It's a generic name. George, he had shoes on, but he didn't have a jacket at all. And I was just given this hoodie, and I just had my, I think you may have seen it in past videos, a tan thrift store suit jacket. Since I just got that tan thrift store suit jacket dried, sorry, I passed it on to George. And I gave it to him. It's like, look, brother, have this jacket. I won't take no for an answer. You could really use it. And then from there, ended up having to walk more. I was exhausted. Wound up in the Denny's, and then I wound it up in my friend's place. Moral of the story. That experience I had, I'm never going to forget that night, man. Never. And 111 and 222 were an important facet for me because they helped prepare me right before the events that took place then for doing what I know how to be done, I guess. But yeah, I had to share that story. I hope you enjoyed it. And the moral of it, you have love and compassion, and you have that love and compassion expressed to you through empathy from a stranger. The important thing to do is pass it on. Pass that on, man. Because that saves people in ways that you as an individual will never know in their lives how effective and how sane you help make them at that time. Namaste.